I want you guys to take a look at this banner here. This is very interesting. We have a lot to cover tonight, including everything you see right there at the bottom of the screen, right? But I want to get to what Soule has been up to because it is a statistical anomaly. Let's look at ball recoveries. Remember, this is a right winger, okay? 24, just one behind number 3 and 3 behind the first place with Patrizio Massini from Genoa. This is very weird. Soule is not that type of player, right? We know Matias. He's a creator. He's a true winger, a goal scorer as well, right? He's all those things. But a ball winner, I didn't expect that coming into this season. Now, okay, that's awesome, right? He's fighting hard for Gasperini. He's buying into the tactics. What also makes this pretty crazy is that, look at that, number 2 for final third passes completed. This is from Squawka. So not only is he doing the dirty work, but he's also being phenomenal. And just 2 behind number 1, Varela, who's way older than Soule, way more accomplished in his career. So oh my gosh, what type of player does Roma have on their hands here? We've known this for a while, right? We know Matias, but this is a different level. This is Matias Soule unlocked. And I'm very excited, right, as a fan. And I think back to that green third kit, green, white, and gold. And I'm like, yo, that is a winner. If you are out there and you got a Soule third kit, I want you to send it to me, but also save it for your firstborn child, because that is going to be a phenomenal collector's item in some time from now, right? Very cool stuff. Okay. There's some stuff going on with the stadium. They're saying that plans could be in by October. So we know October is just a few days away. Oh my gosh, it's September 26th. It's crazy to think. By the way, where was I after the Derby? So as soon as I got to Roma Club New York, if you haven't seen that video, it actually went pretty viral on Roma Club New York's page. We did that in tandem and my social medias. But as soon as I got there, and it hit me. I felt off. And my friend Chicho got me an espresso. And first of all, it was a little too early for espresso anyway, but I was just like, I don't know. Anyway, the past week I've been getting better. And finally today, I felt good enough to have an extended video and not just like a short or something. But I've been doing a lot of shorts. I've been doing a lot of those caption videos on TikTok and on YouTube Shorts as well. You can find me there. Instagram, like I said, that video was awesome. If you haven't seen it, go to Roma Club New York's Instagram right now, or mine, and go check it out. Let me know what you think. But enough about me. Okay, stadium plans. Yeah, do I think this is going to happen? I'm hearing, fortunately, some bad news about the rest of Italy. They're saying that if Italy does not get their act together with the rest of the league's stadiums, aside from Juventus, then UEFA could consider pulling out the coming Euro tournament. It is a very big deal. Meloni seems like a good leader for Italy, but she has to get past the red tape, get federal funding for these stadiums, go around the municipalities. The municipalities don't want clubs to have their private stadiums. Why? Because they own those stadiums and they get tax revenue off of them, or I should say like gate receipt, right? They're landlords. So what landlord wants the tenant to go and build their own home? None. That's what is hindering Italian football at the moment. If we think back to the early 2000s when English Premier League really took off, one of those reasons is language, but okay, but what about in the 90s when everybody was watching Italian football? Nobody spoke English at that point in Italian football. It's really back to the spectacle that is the match day, right? And you see that the stadiums are tight and the fans are very close to the pitch, and there's not a lot of violence. It's not like people throwing fireworks at the players' heads. I mean, every so often you get some crazy incidents, but by and large, no. But we see in Italy, there's violence, right? That's still a lot of the ultras, and we'll get to the ultras in a little bit. I've got some crazy news for you on that front. But also just the overall conditions of the stadiums. Nobody wants to see how bad these stadiums look. The Artemio Franchi was my home stadium for a good 4 months. I was going every other weekend. It's terrible. These stadiums were built during Mussolini, many of them. They're fascist era stadiums. And Mussolini was killed 1944, right? When he was hung upside down in the piazza outside of Milan. So that is a very long time ago, guys. If we think of like the Yankee Stadium, I think it was built in 2000. They're already talking about replacing Yankee Stadium. It's not even 25 years old. But I live down the street from Giants Stadium, or MetLife, they call it. MetLife was like, oh, we're thinking about doing a stadium. And I like, all seriousness, 24 months later, there was a stadium. Instead, in Italy, we're on year 12 of Roma maybe getting a stadium. We've already seen locations switch from Torre di Valle, and now, what's the new location called? Pietralata? Am I right in that? Anyway, it looks like the plans are there. It looks like the mayor, Galtieri, is on board with trying to get this through. I think for the sake of Italian football, this has to go through. And if it doesn't, it's going to be a death. It's going to be a really bad omen for the next 20 to 30 years in Italy. And mark my words on that, guys. Okay, but I am optimistic. I'll leave you on that. We've covered Soule's form, stadium plans. Let's talk about Pellegrini. I'm going to pull up a stat here. Let's go back on my Twitter. And this was a very popular tweet, as you can see, because the man still has a lot. I'm going to make this bigger for you, too. A lot of support. And don't forget, of course, this has been the captain for about half a decade. Okay, Pellegrini, with that assist to Ndika versus Nice, he becomes the joint leading assist maker with 60, tied with De Rossi, and only behind Totti, who had 205. That's big stuff. But now, and Gasperini has said that they want to move on. Like, the team, the club, the ownership don't really want to stick it out with him. I'm just trying to find the right one here. I had a good one. There we go. That's what I was looking for. How to do that. So my question is, should Pellegrini be renewed? It comes down to two things for me. Is he going to keep performing, and is it worth it to the team, right? And those go hand in hand. If it was me, and now I see a Pellegrini who is going to keep on getting playing time in the rotation because Gasperini's tactics burn through players. He's showing up. He looks happy again. He seems like he's in the right mental state, one which he hasn't been in for 4 years. He's producing, like we see, an assist, goal, another goal in a derby. He is the man of the derbies. I'm going to have to write a little something about him. I'll tell you a little secret. I'm working on a book, and it has to do with the derby della Capitale. So I think I'm going to have to add a little section on Pellegrini now that I think of it. But here's the thing. Roma cannot risk having him as one of the top players because he's not a top player. He is a rotational attacking midfielder. That's his role right now. I think that's how he will continue. With that being said, he gets a little bit of a higher salary because he's a former captain, because he's from Rome, because he delivers, because he's loyal to the club. Let's face it. And there is a price on that, okay? I would be afraid of giving him a big salary, though. I think there needs to be incentives laced into that contract, and I think it needs to be reduced. Of course, he cannot be the first, second, or even third highest performer. He needs to be in the middle of the pack. And Lorenzo Pellegrini is, I'm going to guess, 30 years old. I'm going to fact check. He is 29, and his birthday is soon. I'm going to guess. No, not really. Yeah, he's like 29 and a half. It's a good age. It's a fun age. One of the best years of my life, 29. Anyway, so yeah, that's my verdict is renew him, but at a much lesser salary and tie some incentives into it. Make him goal-based and assists. And you know what I did like to see versus Nice? He was running the most on the pitch for Roma. Him and Cristante, I'm pretty sure. So that's a really good sign, guys. And I'm happy with it. I want to see him recover. I want to see him be happy and enjoy life again from a human perspective. He seems like a nice enough guy. He's not a jerk. He's not a playboy either. Like he seems pretty grounded. I just hope that, he's back. Anyway, I was looking at a post about Lewis Hamilton's dog. I don't think Roscoe's going to make it. I'm sorry, but they shouldn't breed those dogs with those noses. Apparently he's 13 years old. My friend Tony Roma put out for me, but yeah, that stinks for Lewis. I wish it had gone better for him at Ferrari too, but even if Ferrari gets the fastest car, Leclerc is a faster driver. So if you want to talk more about F1, you can leave me a comment too. So I don't know if Roscoe has too much to live. I know how it goes with dogs, especially older dogs. So poor Lewis. But as far as Ferrari, they're going to need a lot of help too. On to Gasperini. A couple of things here. We're going to go over something called PPDA. PPDA is a new statistic. I'm going to blow this up for you too. Passes per defensive action. And what that means is the lower the number, the better, because that means you give the opposition less time, less passes before you get involved in a defensive action like a slide or winning the ball back. And of course, we'll go on to the goal against Lazio, but that directly came from PPDA. Now, it's not throughout the entire pitch. It's actually in the 60 yards closest to the opposition's goal. So it is quite an involved statistic here. However, Roma are number one in all of European football, Europe's top 5 leagues, which tells you that the pressing has been good, but not only that they are pressing, but that it's been effective, that they're actually making the opposing team, making the opponent make mistakes. That's the most important. That's the key idea here for PPDA, and I'm sure I'll keep bringing it up. Third in balls won back behind only PSG and Barcelona, so when it's contested, and third for balls won in the opposition's half. And yeah, that makes sense. So on to that goal. Soule makes it off of a great pass. He orientates himself. And where does he get that ball from? He gets it from Wrench, who steps in for Wesley and honestly had a really great game. And then Pellegrini, of course. The one thing I will say more about Pellegrini is he annoys me in the sense that Pellegrini is not a genius type of player. He's not a true playmaker. He is a center midfielder, slightly attacking biased, who is more position-based. He's an excellent reader of space rather than a Totti-esque player who creates the play. And why am I critical of him in that aspect? Is because I've played that position my entire life. If I'm half decent at football, I'm a playmaker. I love to create, and my strongest asset was always my brain. Whether I used it or not is another story, but that's the one thing. Pellegrini is not that type of creator. He's somebody who eats up space and makes the right, hopefully on his best days, makes the right run. And that's how he scored the goal in the derby. Did Roma deserve to win? Yeah, I thought they were the better team. Did they have the better chances? Well, I think Diaz's chance was the best of the game out of anybody. Well, Pellegrini's was also very good. He had a great finish, I have to say, Pellegrini. When you look at that angle again, to be able to get that leverage from that spot and hit it across the keeper to the keeper's right is a difficult shot. So he has some really good momentum and power and swerve behind that too. But deserve, yeah, I think Roma did deserve it. It was a really good game all around. Kone was phenomenal. The way that he's able to turn in the center of the pitch under pressure, take on 2 or 3 guys. He did it in like the 26th minute. And I was just like, brother, you are so good. You're a phenomenal player. And if Roma didn't win, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. If they drew, it wouldn't have been the worst thing ever. But I felt that for Lazio, for them to lose the derby, especially off of a mistake, Tavares, awful player. What was he thinking? That this is going to be so much worse for Lazio than a loss would have been for Roma, because Roma have a project. Roma are lowering their age. They have one of the best coaches in football. He's a genius of the game. And what do Lazio have? A transfer ban. Sarri, who doesn't even look happy to be there. Some miserable players. And Zaccagni and Rovella, who I actually think is a decent player. He took Pellegrini for a ride right before the goal. So, all right. We've covered the top things there, right? Verona preview. We'll get to that in a minute, who I think is going to be starting. There was something else I wanted to cover. I'm just going to check my Twitter real quick. Hopefully you're not in a rush. By the way, guys, use this time, leave some comments what you thought about Lazio Roma, where you think that this team could end up. One eye on the Europa League. And yes, that's what I wanted to talk about. The B team and the match in Nice. The match in Nice was awesome. The Ultras, though, they got into some really big trouble. Get this. So 102 Romanisti Ultras were arrested, and they were found with all types of crazy stuff. Iron bars, broom handles, knives, hammers, stab-proof vests, smoke bombs, agricultural spray, tear gas, and other crazy stuff. So they got arrested, 102 of them. Now the judge in France, in Nice, has decided that they are going to stay in jail in Nice for 2 months. That is crazy. So they can't be allowed. I don't know if they should be allowed out. It's a double-edged sword, though. We could say that these ultras are drug addicts, which some of them are, and bad people. But you know what? When people talk about Roma having the best fans in the world, you know who's leading a lot of those songs, those chants, and the pyrotechnics? Ultras. So you take the good with the bad with these guys, right? There's my cold. I'm sorry. Coming back. Anyway, also Roma are looking into a B team. De Rossi's father, who's head of the youth sector, mentioned this a few days ago, which would be the best thing. Look, Juventus, since they have had their B team in the past 3 years, they've made over 200 million euros in transfer fees. The most expensive player they sold, Matthias Soule, and I bet they're regretting it, but it has been a way for them to be financially stable, if not profitable. So the B team comes Roma's way, it'd be nothing but good things, guys. On to that Verona preview. Who's going to be starting? Look, playing at Roma, playing at the Bentegodi is never going to be easy at Verona. They've already taken points off of Juventus. So this match is, when is this match? September 28th. Okay, in 2 days. Yes, Sunday, right? Of course. My guess has to be it's going to be Ferguson, right? He's back into the starting lineup. Football Italia says it's going to be Dovbyk. I don't agree with that. I do think El Shaarawy would start on the left with Soule on the right. And some believe that Tsimikas could be the starting left midfielder. Let's call him a left midfielder ahead of Angelino. Midfield should be Kone, Cristante, and then Wrench on the right with Indica, Mancini, and Selic. Okay, that's fine. However Roma play, they have to go out there and play tough, especially against this Verona. They're going to come out and definitely try to, if not gain points, win against this Roma. But one thing I will say, guys, there's been 0 real chances aside from that Dia chance in the derby that have been against Roma's goal. The defense has been phenomenal. The center backs, the cover in the center of the pitch by the center mids, the work from the wing backs. So you're talking 5 matches this season. Roma has won 4 of them. They've let in 2 goals. One was a long-range effort against Torino, and only one from open play because the one against Nice was a penalty kick, which really was a phantom call. So, first 5 games and 1 big goal-scoring chance, that's crazy. And I'll leave you on that. Let me know what you think. We will have another video after the Verona match, either Sunday night or Monday. Ciao.